Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, welcome to Random Conflux. Where today, usually I make jokes, I usually say, hey, what do you want to talk about? Or I just go completely off the wall. But let me talk to you for a second here. There is a problem going around with kids and the adults are more to blame for this. With kids having temper problems, with kids having disciplinary situations. And for this topic, this is literally a topic about when adults wrong the children that they're supposed to be righting. And when that happens, it can cause a rift between the child and the adult. And when adults in power, like I'm just going to spitball some adults out, bus driver from bus stop to school and from school to bus stop.
Or a teacher.
Hold on.
Okay.
And I'm mentioning this just to show, like, hey, you're a bus driver, you're picking up the kids from bus stop to school, from school to bus stop. Anything that happens on your bus is your responsibility. And if you can't understand that, then you don't need to be a bus driver. Go back to school. That's just plain and simple. Right there. That's problem number one. Problem number two, principals, teachers, and all other adults that are supposed to be attending and helping the children. If there is a problem that the child should not be dealing with themselves, hence bullying, anything that berates the child in any way from another child, it should be the adult's job to handle it. So when it comes down to the adults that need to stand the heck up and be adults and do their goddamn freaking jobs better, then you don't have that much of a problem when it comes down to kids misbehaving. So, with that being said, I know that was a strong intro. So, let's get down to the nitty gritty. I'm Zach.
I'm John.
This is Random Conflux. And by any chance, if you don't like what we're saying, then I only got 2 words for you.
It's an opinion. It's a lot of us are opinions, and if you don't like it, that's fine. You know.
Well, technically, it comes down to children and the way that they are being treated by adults that should be taking a neutral stance and choose to side with the bully over the bullied.
Yeah.
That's where I draw the line, and I'm not okay with that.
No, you should always listen to both sides and come to an even ground with it.
Now, there's a few reasons why I'm bringing this topic up, and let me clarify some things. It was an asked about topic and asked about in person, and it's going to be used somewhere down the road by some people that really need to view this. So, with that being said, I'm going to try to make this as plain as day and try to keep my anger management to a minimum. The cussing, the swearing, the vanity or profanity.
Yeah, that's right.
But I was not told by said requester that this was going to be viewed by children. It's just going to be viewed. I'm thinking adults are going to view this, and it needs to be a wake-up call. And if I swear, then so be it. And I'm not going to try to. I'm going to try to be calm, cool, and collected, but when it comes down to kids being mistreated, and this is a mistreatment towards children, that pisses me off. So, let's get to the point. I started off with anger towards Mr. Bus Driver. So, let me get into the nitty gritty of the story here. Kid A, or Kid 1, is having a problem being bullied by Kid 2. He does the right thing, and I'm going to put emphasis on right. Hopefully, JJ will upscale the word right. And I'm going to say it one more time. The right thing. And going towards the bus driver to be like, hey, Kid 2 is picking on me. It's making me feel bad. Please handle this. Mm-hmm. Bus driver goes, well, sit down and ignore him. Do you know what that says to a child that has anger management issues? Go do it yourself so you can get into more trouble. So, Kid 1 decides to be like, okay, well, you're not acting very much like an adult. Why don't you just shut up then? In layman's terms. And then he gets thrown off the bus. Well, who was in the right? Who was in the wrong? I say the bus driver is in the wrong for not doing his job. Because I know from my experience, I've told off a few bus drivers there too. And I have a temper problem myself. If the bus driver doesn't handle it, I did. And then I dared the bus driver to kick me off the bus because I would take their job.
And you usually don't get in trouble, if I'm right.
No. Get right back on the bus. Bus driver don't want to do his job, then can't say a damn thing because you're going to lose it. And this goes for teachers too. I know that adults need to be, especially if they don't know the whole thing, they need to take a neutral ground. They need to take a neutral stance. Mm-hmm. But they also need to protect the people that need protecting. Yeah. And when it comes down to anger management, the best way to handle it is to tell both parties, not just one or the other, to not talk to each other. Very easy, very simple, not that hard to do. And as far as I'm concerned, people that don't take their job seriously shouldn't have the job to begin with. So, take that with what you will. Now, for the parents, they still gotta tell the kid, hey, you kinda did wrong. They don't have a choice in the matter because the kid got thrown off the bus. The wrong kid got thrown off the bus. So, what do you do about it? We're going to have a few examples. I'm going to throw out some ideas. Jay will throw out some ideas, and that's how we're going to do it. If you disagree or agree, you can leave your little fancy little words in the comments down below. We'll read them. We'll decide if it's right or wrong. Well, maybe. My way of handling the situation, and mind you, I do have a temper. I've had a temper ever since I can remember. I've handled with bullies as far as I can remember. And when I realized that the adults weren't gonna do anything about it, I handled shit myself. And I know that that's not the best route to take, but that's where your mindset goes when you're failed. When the right system fails to do its job, the right way becomes the wrong way. And the wrong way tends to be the only choice you have. To be like, okay, I'm not taking your shit no more. Leave me alone. That's that. If I have to break a limb or two, I'll do it. Now leave me alone. That was me. That was my point of view. Because I've been in this situation. I've had the adults in power fail me. I know what it's like. So with me saying what I would do, well, let's see what JJ would do.
I always did reverse psychology on the kids. Make them think I enjoyed it and they stopped.
I tried that. It just got worse. They go, well, if you like it so much, we'll just keep doing it more and more and more. And it didn't work for me. So I just said, I'll scrap with you.
What happened when I was swearing?
Yeah.
I'm actually going to have to go out and cut out almost all the swear words.
Probably.
He's giving me more work by swearing.
I'm pissed.
I know. It's giving you a hard time.
I've been in this situation. I know how Kid 1 feels.
Yeah, I know. I've been there too. It's like, they don't take your side because...
Well, it's not even about picking sides. It's like, hey, you two can get along. Don't talk to each other.
Yeah, separating would have been the best solution.
Yeah, be like, hey, you up front, you all the way in the back.
Yeah.
Just stay away from each other. And in a school environment, like recess, classrooms, that shit going on in the classroom, I can talk from experience. It doesn't help you get shit done. It doesn't help you get your schoolwork done because you're constantly having to be distracted by the kids whispering in your ear, telling you like how dumb you are, or how much of a nerd you are, or just something that's completely stupid. And then when you politely say shut up and leave me alone, to the point where you're pushing your frustration out, and then that causes the teacher to hear it, and then you'll get in trouble again. You know, it doesn't freaking work. So, I think there needs to be a change. I think that if you don't want to do what's required as a bus driver, or as a teacher, or as a principal, then you don't need that job. Go do something else. Because putting a kid in that situation is child endangerment. By law, by the statute of the law, by correcting the kid that has not done anything wrong over stopping the actual bully is putting harm to the child. Mentally, you're telling them, and this is the thing with bullies, it doesn't always tend to just stay mental. It doesn't just tend to stay verbal. What happens when it becomes physical? And then you realize, oh, this guy's not going to help me. This teacher's not going to help me. This bus driver's not going to help me. And then when I go home, I'm just going to get it all over again. I'm damned if I do, and I'm damned if I don't. So, then what? I think that's the better question. What then? Because you guys are the adults in this situation. Teacher people, cafeteria staff, janitors, principals, bus drivers. You guys are in a position where those children are the ones that depends on you to do your job.
Yep.
So, what happens when adults in power fail their children that need them the most? You get someone very pissed off. The children, they fail. And I'm not talking about a letter grade fail. I'm talking about leaving out to dry. Ignoring them when they need your help the most. That is definitely not what you learn to become a teacher. That is definitely not what you learn when you become a bus driver. Because they put you through classes like that to know what to do. And I'm hoping this reaches every person that it can. My swearing or not, I hope that this lights a fire under every teacher and every freaking bus driver there is. So, does it help? Does inaction help the child? No, it doesn't.
Now, if you're not being impartial, it's not going to help. You have to think of both sides and everything else.
Well, you would have to do your job first.
Exactly.
You would have to put in effort. I can just see the comments now. Hey, you're talking about kids, but you're swearing more than Carter Scout liver pills. Well, yeah. I've been through it. I know how Kid 1 in the example feels. I was also someone that was corrected because I gave up on trusting the adults. Only God knows how many times I went to school with him being 100% okay, and then coming back home and being like, ow, my hand hurts. I punched that guy too hard.
And that wasn't the way to do it.
No, but that's what happens when the adults in power fail you. And I don't even know if fail is the right way of saying it. But when a system is set up to, make the adults the ones to go to for, problems like that, and the children aren't supposed to, handle it themselves, then the adults need to grow up and be adults and do their job. So, I don't know how else to say it. I can keep bashing the adults. I can keep saying, what your job requires you to do. And I've looked it up. I've looked up the training. I know what is entitled in your job description. Bus driver, teacher, principal, whatever. When you're around a student and you know that student needs help, it's your job. Quoted by Department of Human Resources, as well as the Protection of Child Endangerment, or Child Protective Services, it entitles, and I can look up the link, I can have Jay take a post of it when he goes to edit. It states, and I quote, any time that adult in power, adult at the moment, that has a child under their supervision is immediately supposed to handle a situation that causes either mental, physical, or otherwisely harm. And if the adult does not say, do with that information as they are supposed to, then the family of said child can sue the person in charge during the incident for everything that they got. Pretty much. And the person that was in charge at the time during the incident can and should lose their job privileges or have their job suspended until a proper investigation can be put in place. Now, if you want to look up the statutes, then go ahead. Go to Child Protective Services website in your own state and county, and you can find that information for yourself. And bus drivers, as well as teachers and principals, anybody that can be around a child, is given a very similar course on how to handle situations where it comes down to a child coming to you either for bullying or a child coming to you because something hurts on them. And if you suspect child abuse, how to figure that into the situation. If you are witness to something going on around you, it is your freaking job to put a stop to it. And if you don't, then you don't need to be having that job. And this topic probably made me a little hotter under the collar than most topics have in the past.
I have to make quite a few edits to this one because I want it to be viewed by as many people as possible.
But I just want to put this out there and explain. The adults in power are the adults that kids are around the most, that are not the child's parents. They're supposed to be a neutral entity, and if there's a situation where these adults in power proclaim that they believe that the child is being abused, either by someone close to them or by another child, they are to report it and handle the situation.
Yeah. And also, kids, don't be afraid to talk. If one person doesn't answer, talk to somebody else and report it.
And just for kids that, and I'm going to pull down the swearing because I'm wanting to talk a little bit more towards the kids in this situation.
Yeah.
If you know that the adults aren't doing the jobs that they're supposed to do, there is other ways of handling it. You don't have to resort to violence. Do try to ignore the situation. If it does become physical, then do what you need to do to protect yourself. But make sure if a teacher is watching, and make sure that the teacher sees the person when push comes to shove, make the first push. And if the teacher or principal or bus driver turns their head and you defend yourself, you retaliate, and then you get into trouble, then there's another step. You take it to your parents. And then you have your parents take it to the Board of Education. And you try to remember who's all around when a situation like this happens. Make sure you know if it happens on the bus, make sure you know the bus number. You know the bus driver's first and last name. You know the kids that are sitting closest to you. Because they're going to be the first to witness what's going on. You want to make sure that you know their names, and you have the principal contact their parents, and you get them to say what happened. And hopefully on your parents' side of the situation, they go to the Board of Education above the principal's heads and tells the Board of Education what's going on. And they have the Board of Education do an internal review. If that doesn't fix things, then there's other methods to go to. Your parents can therefore go into more legal routes. They can go to the point of charging the school with neglect and negligence on their side. When that happens, and the reason why that happens is because inaction is actually an action that is illegal. To not do anything when you know it's necessary to do so, then you're literally doing harm. And it's an adult's job to not do harm to a child by any means necessary. And if you're a child in a situation like this, then we'll also put some comments down below in the description of ways that you can possibly handle this situation rather than doing what I have done and handle it yourself.
Because you usually end up regretting it in the long run.
I shattered my knuckle over a dummy's head. So, yeah, I regret it every time I walk out in the cold. I don't have a pinky knuckle anymore. It If you look, there is a space where my pinky connects to my hand.
Your knuckle shot, your shoulder shot.
It's not worth it. And I know from experience, your anger doesn't realize that. And if you do have an anger problem, it's even worse.
That's why anymore when you get angry, you just walk away. You start to get tics.
Yeah, I try to. But when you have an anger disorder like that, you can only hold it in for so long. Because then once you reach that boiling point, you can't hold it in any longer.
Yeah.
And it really sucks when the people that whole point of their job is to make sure that they get from home to school safely, their school day is safe, and then from school to home safely, and they're not doing their jobs, then like something has to be done. A video like this needs to be seen. A video like this needs to be heard. And if I have to get pissed off and scream into this microphone, then I'll do it. This needs to be rectified. And as much as I love to joke and to have fun with this channel, this isn't an episode to do it. So you kind of get where I'm coming from. And it's not just something that's happened to me in the past. It's happening to other children here and now. And the children that it's happening to, they're going to go down the same route I went down and not trust anybody. And when that happens, then that child is just seen as someone that was sober. And use this as you will, but, I think adults that don't do their job should be...
They shouldn't have a job anymore if they're not going to do it right?
No, I think they should be punished. I think that if they want to keep their job, I think that they should go back to the proper training. Or it's a failure in the training course that they take to not realize that that is their job. Anytime you're in care of a child, the child's safety is your top priority. And that is literally in your training. I've literally sat here for hours on end looking through what a bus driver has to go through, what a teacher has to go through, the qualifications and courses that they have to take to ensure that they know how to handle child safety responsibly. And if they are neglecting the children, then they don't need the job because they're not doing their job right. And one of these people we're talking about has been written up for this multiple times. I'm not going to say who it is or what child was involved or how many times that this person has been written up. But even if it's 2 or 3 times, 1 is enough. You want to add anything?
I can't think of anything else to add. I think you've pretty much said everything. And I've been there myself. I got in trouble for some of the dumbest stuff before too that wasn't really my fault, so I've been there too.
And most of the time when you do defend yourself, it's at the worst possible second because the bully kind of gets in this routine. They'll look out the corner of their eye. Yeah. They'll check to see if they're being watched. Yeah. And then they'll bully you below what you can hear. And it's to the point where sometimes you gotta get loud and say, enough's enough, leave me alone. But when that happens, the teachers or bus driver or whoever, they're not hearing what's causing it. They're just hearing you being what's the word I'm looking for? Disruptive? Yeah, disruptive. And that's not what you're trying to be.
No.
So, I want to read your guys' comments and, kind of get your guys' take on a situation like this and kind of see how your guys' brain processes situations like this. Have you ever been in a situation where either your teacher failed you or a bus driver has failed you in this type of situation where the adults should have been the ones to handle a situation that was their job to handle? Or did you feel like you couldn't go to the adults? Tell us in the comments down below. I want to be able to read these messages. I want you guys to be able to push these messages out to each other and just kind of grow an audience that if the people in power aren't going to do what's right, then there needs to be somebody else there that can and will do the right thing. I think with a bus route situation, there should be like a second person just monitoring the children.
That would help.
That would take less focus off the driver. But in a classroom, most classrooms now have close to two teachers, maybe even more depending on the size of the classrooms now. But they don't always see everything. But when you bring the situation up to them, or when a situation is brought up to you and you're the person in power to do something about it, then you need to handle it by taking a neutral stance. And the easiest way to do so, and it is so freaking stupid on how easy it is. Child 1 is having problems with child 2. You tell child 1 and 2 just to leave each other alone.
Separate them.
Put one over on one side, put the other on the other side. And if it's in a bus, put one in the back, one in the front. It is that easy. It is that simple. There ain't no rocket science to it. It's not brain surgery. Even though I can do kind of that. But anyways, I know enough about brains and how they work to know what to probe to make someone do something.
I don't know about that.
In rocket science, it's only putting rocket fuel in a rocket. I mean, how hard is that?
I don't think I trust you to get a lot of me. I think with that said, that's a good place to end this, because I think we're getting off topic. Anyways, I'm John.
Hey, I gotta put a joke somewhere in here.
Yeah. Anyways, with that, I think I'm John.
I think I'm Zach.
And this has been Random Conflux. If this has helped you in any way, please comment below. I'm going to do my best to edit some of the swearing out because I think it's a bit excessive. I know you were ticked.
I mean, who wouldn't be?
Yeah, exactly.
It's children that are being mistreated.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm against that 110%. Yeah. I'm not okay with children being mistreated. It doesn't matter if it's a child I know personally or a child I don't know jack shit about.
And I agree, like I said.
I don't want to see any child being mistreated. Yeah. Especially when, they're doing the right thing. Yep. They're going to the adult. They're being like, hey, Mr. Adult Person, I would like you to do your job, please. It's not that hard. And if you can't do it, then that job's not for you. With that being said, this is Random Conflux.
You've ranted enough, I think.
Yeah, I've ranted enough. I'm gonna go make another video. Say goodbye, Vegeta.
I can't even do Vegeta right now. My throat's shot.
Uncle Pickle?
Nah. Sadly, I got a sore throat, so I can't do voices right now.
Oh, anyways.
See you guys later.
Toodles. Now, where's the off button? There it is. Oh, that didn't do it. Still rolling. We're still rolling. Stop it.